Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Pitch Strike Chronicles. I am Uncle Tats. I am here with Rob and Donald. And for those of you who are now watching us on Twitter, welcome to the family, because this is where fans become family. You'll see on the YouTube stream where people are making comments, you'll see the community that we have built. We hope you jump over, hit that sub button, and join the comment section as well with them. But the other thing that's been making a lot of waves is not just us. It's also Luis Gil, who has been absolutely dominating every game that he's been a part of. Absolutely dominating. There's no complaints about his game at all. You can't even nitpick a pitch. There's no right to do that. You're talking to a guy that, we say makes history. He was also not only the pitcher of the month, but the rookie of the month. Right? He's got a 129 batting average against 10 times in his starts this year, 3 hits or less. In 12 starts, he's got a 1.82 ERA, which is the 5th lowest in Yankee history. And think of the pitches that have come through that door. This is absolutely insane. How lucky are we to have Luis Gil in this rotation? Gentlemen, I'll throw it to you.
And he's got the longest streak in Yankee history now, which is the 7th start in a row with 6 innings pitched and 1 or 0 runs allowed. He has made history. Think of the names in Yankee history. I mean, just recently we're looking at Garrett Cole, incredible. CC Sabathia prior to that. Roger Clemens, The Rocket, Andy Pettitte, Whitey freaking Ford, Ron Guidry. So the greatest names in MLB history have played for the Yankees. And guess what? Luis Gil has the longest streak. Can you imagine this? 7 start in a row with 6 innings plus pitched and 1 or 0 runs allowed. Number 81, Luis Gil. He is the king of the heel.
Absolutely. Rob, your thoughts?
Yeah, the history is unbelievable. Like, just the 153 opponents batting average through his first 19 starts is the lowest in the live ball era. That's since 1920. Yep. Like, he's doing things that we haven't seen in our lifetime. He's doing things that we haven't seen since 21 DeGrom. And before he got hurt that year, DeGrom was pitching at the greatest level I think we've ever seen. It's actually scary what he's doing out there. And every single time he takes the ball, it makes you really, really wonder what the innings limit is for him, if there even is one, because he's making it more and more difficult for the Yankees to put a cap on his season. And how are they going to navigate through this? Because you can't take this guy out of the rotation and you can't limit this guy to a certain amount of innings per start. He's been so good. He's got the lowest ERA in the American League now. So over this last a few weeks ago, we were talking about, and I was like, not really, because there's a few guys that have been better than him, like Lugo and Tariq Skubal. Now, this guy's got the lowest ERA, so he's been fantastic. And yeah, we got him for Jake Cave. It might have been the greatest trade that Cashman has ever made, at least for his point. So, it's been fantastic watching him pitch. And every single time he takes the ball, you're just like, they can't take this dude out of the rotation. I don't know what they're gonna do from now until the end of the season, but they've got to figure out a plan for him, because taking him out or limiting his innings is going to be, it could hurt him and it could hurt the team.
Rob, I think what we're seeing is what happened yesterday. To be honest, Luis Gil could have gone 8 innings yesterday.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He could have. But Boone cut him off after 6. Now, you could argue whether it's actually a little early to take him out because he was cruising. I don't even think he reached 80 pitches at that point. But I think that's what the Yankees are going to do. I think they're gonna have him in a strict kind of pitch count. I don't think he's gonna go much over 90 in many starts. And if there's a comfortable outing, just like we saw yesterday, I think they'll maybe cap it at around 6 innings. So I think that's how they're gonna manage it. They will manage it, right? But I don't think there's any way they could possibly take him out of the rotation. It's impossible at this point. This man is actually on course to pitch as a starter in the All-Star game. He's leading the rookie watch out of the American League. He's in the Cy Young contention, so they're not taking him out. He's in a class of his own. He's just made history. I just mentioned history. I have to reinforce the names that the Yankees have had in the past. Ron Guidry, Whitey Ford, these incredible names. We've seen Roger Clemens. Roger Clemens, for me, was the best arm I've ever seen. And then Garrett Cole comes around. And guess what? Luis Gil's the one that's holding the record. This is what we're seeing. This is insane, guys. This is special.
Yeah, it really is. That's exactly the word. It is special because I saw a comment and I don't on X and I don't remember who it was and I apologize but it was Luis Gil is giving us the level of pitching that we expected from Severino. Like this is what we expected him to be, but Gil's doing it better. And it was also brought up that Gil is actually outpacing Cole's Cy Young year.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's
we brought it up in a previous podcast.
Yeah, that was us. No, well, it came from another discussion, but we did elaborate on it. You know, sorry about that little glitch there. I just want to, before we get to the roll call, right, because we have a chat really jumping, I want to point out by himself, Lou just got the notification that you have subscribed. Welcome back into the chat. We appreciate you giving us the sub. But Donald, nobody does it better than you, bro. Let's do the roll call.
Let's do it. Federico, what is happening? Federico Ford on pitch count in last year's. Jones, salute to Joan. I would love it, but I think it's unrealistic to think he'll make a full season. He's going to make a full season. Let's back it, baby. Let's do it. Sunil, what's happening, Sunil? Minnesota is sitting there kicking themselves in the pants for this heel for Cave trade. It is one of the great trades. It really is. But not for Minnesota. Ken, in interviews, Cole has attributed the staff's success to Heel. I think it's a team effort.
Very fair statement.
Heel's got incredible stuff, right? But Garrett Cole has nurtured it. Matt Blake and staff have developed it. The key was developing that third pitch. Luis Gil had two elite pitches. He had a fastball and he had a slider. But he didn't have that third pitch to get him really over the top. And that's what they've developed this year. And I can't say enough about what they just did. So to Ken, good to see Ken back in the chat. Just think how bad the Twins feel after they traded Gil for Jake Cave. Appears to be a one-sided trade. It appears to be? It absolutely is.
If there ever was one.
There can be a more one-sided trade. Mr. Barros, good to see you. Good morning, guys. How are you doing? Sorry I'm late. I'm in Florida watching the show. Well, good to see you back in Florida. What is happening in Stevie B's land? Stevie B saying hello to all of us. Sunil, I'm convinced Luis Gil is reprising the R. Lou, good to see Lou in the chat. We have got a full chat here. Stevie B, we've got Jonathan in the chat as well. And Joan in there and everybody in there. So couldn't thank everybody enough for hopping on and joining us again on a Wednesday. Hit the like button, hit the sub button, and say hello to us in the chat if you haven't already done so.
Yeah, and the other thing is, as good as Luis Gil has been, it's also, the offense has done their job as well. And it's been what you're seeing this year compared to years past is the collaboration of effort from everybody up and down the roster. I don't think there's anybody that's on the 26 man right now that is really not putting the effort in to keep, the Yankees on this run, because they just, they are on a 6-game win streak after, coming back to New York off a strong West Coast trip. There's no flaws in this team right now. There really haven't been. You've had a little hiccup, but really there's not. We elaborated. Well, I'm tongue tied on that one. We stressed the point. I'm not going to try to say that word again. We stressed the point that when you're on this type of run, it really leaves you very little to complain about. Luis Gil's at the top of the list, where there's really, you can't say enough about the positive attitude that he's been trickling down on the pitching side.
Let's switch to NFE. Luis Gil was AL Pitcher of the Month in May and AL Rookie of the Month in May. Salute to NFE. If you haven't already done so, hit the sub button for NFE's channel. He's doing great work over there. We've got a good partnership with NFE. He is spot on and really important to reinforce this. We've got an award winner, baby. His name's Luis Gil. AL Pitcher of the Month, Rookie of the Month. How often does that happen? Not often. I can't think of many cases like that. Luis Gil's doing things that I've never seen before. A rookie that's pitching better than like Yankee history? It's insane. Truly amazing stuff.
Yeah, he's the first Yankee with 80 strikeouts or more and a sub 1.85 ERA in his first 12 games of his season. Again, he's just breaking records that we haven't seen before. And we had some great pitchers like you named already. CC's part of that group as well. We had that special 2 years from Severino where he did the next big thing. So we haven't seen this before, and it's been really, really fun to watch. And when you said earlier there's no flaws in the team, yeah, there's a couple, but they're masked by a 44-win team, a 43-win team. So there's no reason to nitpick them, but there's definitely a couple of things to pick apart right now, but it's something that you don't really worry about when the whole team is, or most of the team is contributing and winning. Because like Trent Grisham hasn't done anything. Rizzo's been terrible.
Yeah.
Gleyber Torres has been up and down, but he did hit a home run yesterday. That would have been a home run in only one ballpark, but it's still a home run, still counts. There's been a couple of issues like here and there, but when you're winning as many games as we are, you don't have to worry about it. That's the good thing. Last year, we would have had to worry about that and having a bad record or a 500 record. Right now, we've got the best record in the American League. I think tied for the best record in baseball now because Philly won again. But there's no reason to complain about those things because we're in the spot that we're in. And that's a great thing because you got the best duo in the sport. You got the best rotation in the sport. You got one of the best bullpens in the sport, despite a couple of guys struggling. And your lineup might not be matched by anybody else in the sport right now. And that's with a couple of key guys struggling.
Yeah, I was listening to Talking Yanks. I think the only guy with a negative WAR is actually Rizzo. Gleyber Torres has climbed out of it. He's actually like just above. He's like 0.1 now. But Rizzo's the only negative. He's the only one with an OPS which is completely well below average. Everyone else is kind of there. Even Gleyber Torres, because Torres has actually been okay over the last month. But the big issue is actually Rizzo. Rizzo's not been good. Rizzo's the only one with below average OPS, the only one that's playing really bad defense. And but it doesn't really matter because it's covered up by the fact that the rest of this lineup is hitting so well. We can live with Gleyber Torres being average, mediocre at best now. Anthony Rizzo declining significantly. We can live with that because we've got Stanton, who's hitting like a monster now. We got Aaron Judge. You got Soto. You got Volpe, who's on another on-base streak. 30-game on-base streak along with Aaron Judge. That's historic in itself. How about more history here? Here's another crazy stat. The WAR between Aaron Judge and Juan Soto, which is over 7.4, is more than about 6 teams combined. 6 major league teams combined. Aaron Judge and Juan Soto is above both of them. Above all 6 of them. It's insane. The 2 of them combined is better than the 6 major league teams. How about that for a frickin' stat? What about the stat that Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, and Giancarlo Stanton with 15 home runs each after 60 games is more than anyone ever. Like that's another historic stat, apparently. You name it. The Yankees are making history. Anthony Volpe's 30-game on-base streak hadn't been seen in like 30 years. I mean, we're talking about stuff that we haven't seen. This organization, this franchise are doing things that hasn't been seen before. It's pretty remarkable. It's freaking remarkable. What am I talking about? It's freaking remarkable.
Yeah, the Judge and Volpe both have a 30-game on-base streak, and that's I think the first since DiMaggio and Keller since the 30s or something like that. Yeah, that's nuts. 1930 I think the stat was from Katie Sharp, or it might have been from Sarah Lang's. Can't remember who exactly put that on Twitter, but yeah, we're talking almost a century of since
Yeah,
that's
and
since
Kay
been
mentioned
done in Yankee history.
those three guys with over 15 home runs each after 61 games is the first time. Is that the first time it's ever been done, or is it like the first time since like freaking the
No,
Ruth era?
first time in Yankee history. Yeah.
First time in Yankee history. Unbelievable. So just to reinforce, so this team is historic. And it doesn't matter that Anthony Rizzo is having a below average year. And now the Yankees may need to look at this come deadline if this continues because he doesn't look good. But it doesn't matter. When everyone else is doing their job, it doesn't matter.
Well, that's what helps you absorb, the deficiency. Where the lack of, well, also the lack of opportunity because everybody else is playing so well. With Grisham being, a non-factor. Torres having his mental lapses. Despite he get the home run last night, which was great to see. It was, he was a contributor to the game on that part. But we've seen quite often that he makes the difficult plays look easy, but the easy plays he's like he's never played the game before. So that Torres is just such a very very complicated player to break down.
Yeah, we
but he's
ripped
an easy
Rizzo,
target.
but Rizzo saved him in air.
Well,
He had to jump like Spider-Man to make a play because Glaber lazily. Well, he made a nice play, but then lazily threw it, and it was actually heading into the stands. But Rizzo had to leap like Spider-Man to make the catch and actually still keep his foot in the bag. So I ripped Rizzo for a very poor run, but tell you what, that was a nice play.
yeah, well, I think that's why guys like Torres and Rizzo, more so Rizzo because of his resume, and being critical of a player doesn't mean that we're done with him. Well, we don't think that he can, a player can turn it around and start, being a contributor. But Rizzo's another guy that we've started to call into question. And I saw something that the fellas from NYYU tweeted out. Being critical of a player doesn't mean that you're being negative. And I thought that was a really that was a comment that really stood out. How do you guys feel about as high as this team is playing right now? When you have situations where you have to call a player into question, and then fans might be like, "Well, what are you complaining about? The team is winning." Well, because we want them to be we want those players to be a part of it.
I want to talk about D-Rod's comment here because I disagree about Torres. He has not had 3 bad years. This year's not over yet. If you want to count 2020 against him, I don't count 2020 against anybody. You really can't. It was such a weird circumstance. It was everything that was going on. He was switching positions. The season starts 4 months late, whatever it was. 2021 you can put against him, but 18 and 19 he looked like the next big thing. Last year he was fine, one of the best, if not the best second baseman in the American League. In 2022 he was actually really good as well. But he was right there with Aaron Judge as one of our best players on the team. So I mean that's 4 out of 5 right there if you want to look at it. And this year isn't over yet, and he's kind of turned it around offensively in the last month or so. So hopefully he can finish off the season well. I think Torres gets a really bad rep, obviously, because defense is an issue. You're right about the defensive part. He's a zombie out there right now, but he is turning it around offensively, and I hope that translates to his defense because we've seen before when one thing is clicking, the other thing gets better. But I disagree about the 3 out of 5 bad years. I don't think that's fair for him.
Yeah,
Sunil, Rizzo was bitten by the spider from Madame Web to make that catch, Donald. Have you guys seen Madame Web? That movie was ass on toast. That movie was buns on toast. It was so bad. So bad. Really bad. If you guys really want a really bad movie to enjoy, I recommend that.
Yeah. I also want to bring up this comment here from Mark Teammate. What's going on, Mark? Long time no see. And I agree with this. I think everybody does. I hope you can turn this around. We need his experience and his clubhouse presence, but the clubhouse presence is not an issue despite his play on the field. What we need is his production, because here's a guy that was a big part of ending the drought of the Cubs, which is why he was such a very highly sought after player that the Yankee fans really wanted because of the postseason numbers, because of what he was able to do, his maturity in the clubhouse, his ability to be a vacuum at first base. But some of those have started to slip off a little bit. And we broke it down a couple weeks ago. What was it? Is it the results from the concussion? Is age catching up to him, or is this just your traditional slump of a player where the bat was struggling and the defense starts to take a couple of bumps? Rizzo needs to be that professional that brings himself back into the fold and auto corrects himself.
Well, he is a professional. There's no better
Yeah.
professional than Anthony Rizzo. That's never been a question with him. This is whether his skills are declining since the concussion, because he's not been the same player since the concussion. I think we can all just accept that. Salute to Mark Teamaker for hitting us in the chat. We'll love to see new people in the chat every day. Welcome to the family. Let's go back to Rizzo. Rizzo's a great teammate. He's a great pro. It's just he's not been the same. His range isn't the same, and his reaction time isn't the same, and his bat speed isn't the same. It's really as simple as that. And I think it's just because he's on the downside of his career, and I think that concussion has had a negative effect on him. Now, whether it's the after effects, which I don't believe it is, I think it's probably just the fact that he missed a good portion of time, and he's just not the same. He's not young anymore. If you're younger, you could probably come back quicker, but it doesn't seem to be the case for Rizzo. Rob, what are you saying? What are you thinking there with him, man? Is he going to turn it around, or do you think it's downside of his career?
I mean, we saw him earlier this year. He was hitting the ball pretty well. And then lately, like the last month, while Judge got red hot, he's been ice cold. So I don't think he's completely washed or he's finished or anything, but this might be what he is. Maybe a little bit better, at least average wise. The powers seem to be zapped out of him completely. That's going back to last year. But it's his defense that concerns me. And the worst thing about his struggles is that it's having far too many people come up with these ridiculous ideas of putting Judge at first or Soto at first. They're just trying to get anybody out there at first base, thinking they'll do a better job than Anthony Rizzo. Like they can just learn the position on the fly. I said it jokingly the other day. Let's put Dominguez over there just to get him in the lineup. No, don't do that. Don't make any suggestions that are crazy like that. We're not gonna do what we did last year and put outfielders at first base unless they've played the position before. And right now we don't have that person waiting in the wings. The only guy that could potentially do it is Rumfield, and he's not ready yet. So we have Rizzo for now. The only thing they can really do is if they want to give him a little bit of a time off period, give him like a couple of days. Maybe they sit him the next 2 days and get him ready for the Dodgers series, because I think we're going to really need him for that. Maybe you put LeMahieu at first and you start Cabrera over there at third for the next couple of nights. Just give him a couple of days off. He's played almost every single game. Give him a little time. Just let him sit, chill, relax, and get ready for the Dodgers series. Maybe that'll do him some good. He might just need a couple of days off to get his head straight, because it was the big West Coast trip. He played mostly every game, I think. And then the long travel, I know he had the day off, but maybe just a couple of days off could help him. I don't know this. I don't think this is the player he's going to be the rest of the way through, but it is concerning that both his offense and defense have gone so poorly this season.
Let's see what Ken's got to say here. Tats, I disagree with you. The difference between needs and wants for Rizzo. We have plenty of offense without Rizzo. The team will be successful with 4 or 5 players that are hot. Well, I do agree with Ken here that the fact is we don't actually need Rizzo to be the Anthony Rizzo of the Chicago Cubs era. We don't even need Anthony Rizzo of 2021, 2022. We don't need that. We're so good that we don't need that. Just if Anthony Rizzo can give us above average defense, make his plays at first, and give us occasional pop from first base, and give us an OPS in the like 700 range, or even the early 700s. That's all we can ask for. But we're not getting that. That's the thing. His I believe his OPS lately has been around 500, which is massively below average, and that's what we can't sustain. But if it gets up a little bit, then we'll be fine. His defense has really been the issue, though, for me. Offensively, I don't really care. We're so good, we don't need his offense. His defense though needs to be better. This is well below standard for him.
No, and that's the part of his game that I'm alluding to. It's not as bad, and Ken, you're right. You only need a couple of bats to be hot in the postseason to carry you. But if you don't have, solid defense, especially at first base, then that can cost you runs as well. And that in the postseason, if you give the other team an extra out, then we've seen it so many times bite us in the ass, and that's the problem. It's not the fact that his bat may be off. Yeah, he also. Yeah, look, he also pitched too in college, but he's not a two. We don't call him a two-way player. And I'm not trying to shoot down your comment. It's a good point to the people that are pressing for him to go to first. It's just not realistic.
He was joking, hence the LOL. You don't think he's seriously? I think we'll look in July. If the right side continues to struggle, I think we'll probably look to upgrade it at the deadline. Otherwise, I think the Yankees love this team. And how could you not? This is it's a historic team, and it's a pleasure to watch. You know what we haven't talked about yet? Who's been flying under the radar with Volpe and even Verdugo, and certainly Judge and Soto having historic years. Giancarlo Stanton, once again. Another home run. He's been flying under the radar. He doesn't get much credit these days, but I'll tell you what, he's staying on the field, knock on wood, and he's providing elite power or enormous freaking power. That was another enormous shot into the upper decks last night. So let's talk about a bit of Big G. Let's talk about the positive stuff again. Big freaking G, guys. Let's start with Uncle Tats. What are you seeing from Big, enormous G?
Well, I think the change of his body was a big plus. And when we were going through, after the first month with the expectations, I said, if he's staying healthy, this is the player that he's been. It's just the myriad of injuries that have just plagued his career as a Yankee. Where he's still not playing to an MVP level and was shocked. Like that's how rough it's been for him here. But this is just the guy that, you had the two-headed monster with Judge and Soto. Now you can put the three-headed monster throwing Stanton into the mix. Navigating the Yankee lineup is a battlefield. It's really, there's nowhere to go. And it all circles around those three guys. Because we're also seeing the power surge at the end of the games. And this was a player that had his most productive offensive years playing the outfield. Now he's being a strict DH, and we're getting that offensive power there. So I think I think Stanton has really just come into his own. He's made the adjustments to contribute to his team the way he has, and I have no issue with him. I never did.
No, Rob, what are you thinking, bro?
He's got a 121 weighted runs created plus right now, and he's looking more like his 2022 self, which was an all-star player before he got hurt. So I said it before the season. I don't know why so many people are putting so much disrespect on his name. They forget who he was, because when he's not hurt, he's a damn good player. He's a damn good power hitter. And right now he's got 15 home runs. Like we mentioned, 3 players with 15 home runs or more through 62 games has never been done in Yankee history. So he's done everything that I've asked of him, just hit homers. and drive in runs. He doesn't need to hit 280 anymore. He doesn't need to get on base at a 400 clip like Soto and Judge. He just needs to drive them in. And that's what he's been doing. And over the last few days, he's been driving in some late runs, some key insurance runs. He did it twice in San Francisco, and he did it again last night. The game was pretty much over anyway, but it was definitely over when Stanton sent that one deep over the wall. The game was over. You knew they weren't coming back, especially with Weaver coming in to pitch. The game was done. You get yourself some comfort. They call it a garbage time home run, whatever they want to say about him to try to downplay what he's doing, but he's been fantastic. He's been healthy for the first 2 months. He's been healthy for the first 2 months. Hopefully that stays the way it is. Like you said, knock on wood, and just hope that the production keeps up at the plate. Ride the hot waves, and the cold streak will eventually follow because that's how he is. He's hot and cold, but when he's hot, you keep him in the lineup, and when he cools off, you can take him out for a little bit until he heats up again. Aaron Boone said that about him the first 2 weeks of the season. Remember when he was looking terrible, and he said when he gets hot, hop on, or he said hold on because it's going to be a great ride or something like that. He was right, because that's the player that Giancarlo Stanton is. As long as he's healthy, that's the player he's going to be. You're going to get 30 home runs out of him on a healthy season. We got that 2 years ago when he was playing hurt in the second half of the year. He almost hit 30 last year, and he was terrible and playing hurt. So that's what he's going to be. That's why you're not taking him out of this lineup. That's why you're not trading him, and that's why you're not cutting him from this team, especially if it keeps him at this pace. He's going to be a 30 home run player or more. Because at this rate, he might hit 35, maybe even 40. The pace he's on. 15 through the first 2 months is nothing to scoff at.
No, I mean, we're you see the offensive numbers, and you want to praise Judge and Soto, yeah, rightfully so. But Soto, credit to Donald for pointing out that the kind of the unsung hero with him, because he's doing the same thing they're doing, but we want to shit on Stanton all the time because of his because of his injury history. But the dude put the work in. He readjusted himself. He changed his body type, and this is what this is the outcome of it. Just shut up and enjoy it.
I mean, yeah, I think people forget about the fact that Stanton is actually one of the borderline Hall of Famers. He's got 1,500 hits already in his career. He's got 150 home runs for the Yankees, which is nothing to scoff at. And 417 is nothing to scoff at. He could easily make 500 home runs by the end of his career. Easy. He has over 1,000 RBIs for his career. So, I mean, he's a borderline Hall of Famer. And I think if he stays healthy through the last portion of his career, I think he can make a serious case to be a Hall of Famer. And the Yankees could then look at having 3 Hall of Famers in their team as it stands right now with Soto, Judge, and Stanton. I think the yoga has definitely helped Stanton. I think NFE pointed out, because he's obviously involved in training, sports training, how much easier it is if you lose that weight to recover on a daily basis. And I think that's what we're seeing from Stanton, because it looks like he's much more. He's finding it much easier to recover on a day-to-day basis, and he certainly his agility is much improved. So I give him credit for that. I wonder whether Brian Cashman lit a little fire under his ass a little bit, but I don't think that was ever Stanton ever needed that. But this offseason, he was certainly a little bit more critical of Stanton, and Stanton's come back and he's a different player. Well, I wouldn't say different player. He's just a better, more efficient player at what he is now. Now, he's never going to be a guy that's going to compete for MVPs anymore. Right? He's not that guy. But if he's someone that can bat you around 800 OPS and hit you 35 home runs, which he will if he stays healthy, then there's zero argument to be made that he's probably an all-star DH at this point. And it's another very, very important piece to this team. I love his mentality. I think he's a good dude, and he's always been a good leader on the field, and he's doing his thing quietly. I think this is perfect for him in a spot where he could clean up after Soto and Judge and Verdugo. He's in a great spot where he can just let it rip. Now, I could tell yesterday that he was locked in on every fastball. Rob, you were watching his bats. Did you see what I was seeing, man? His bat speed was right on it. Now, He could have hit a home run in his first at bat. He just missed it. Again, it was a fastball. He was right on it. He fouled it right behind him. That's usually a good sign that he was right on it. And then he also hit a foul ball, which was less than a foot away from a home run at one point. And I was like, damn, he's going to hit a home run in this game. He just needs it. He's right on these pitches. The whole game, every at bat, he was like locked in, waiting on these fastballs because they were straight fastballs, and he was right on it. He was just a little bit late to it. And ironically, it was actually an off-speed pitch that he golfed into the upper decks. But it just shows that his bat speed is right there. I saw it yesterday. I saw it from the very first at bat. I was like, holy shit, Stan's gonna go yard in this game. Like his at bats were better than even Soto's at bats. Yesterday. You could tell that that he was right on a home run. He just needed to get that timing down, and eventually he got it. And it certainly wasn't a garbage time home run. It actually was beneficial to us, man, because Clay Holmes was not available. And if it was going to be a 3-1 game in the ninth inning, it would be a safe situation for someone who's not a closer. So Stanton actually took that pressure off and made it a pretty comfortable game. So salute to Big G for that. It was an important home run.
Yeah,
and I want to talk about what Ken was saying earlier, that Stanton carried the team for a month earlier in his career, more like a whole season. 2021, that team was on his back. 2018, he put that team on his back because Judge got hurt in 2018, and he missed a good chunk of time. And when that happened, Stanton had the team on his shoulders, and Andujar as well put that team on his shoulders. But it was mostly Stanton. Wasn't that long ago that, remember in Fenway, he hit the grand slam over the monster? That was 2021. So Giancarlo Stanton has put this team on his back on multiple occasions. It's just the injuries have piled up, and it's made people really vilify him. But it is annoying because you see what he can be if he is healthy. And that's just always been the key with him, is just stay healthy and he will produce. Because even when he was hurt, he's still hitting 20-plus home runs a year. That's a good sign that he's at least got the power there. And like you said, his bat speed is definitely there because he's got the top bat speed in baseball. They're measuring that stuff now. And the Yankees have 3 of the top bat speed guys in their lineup, and Stanton's at the top of it. So clearly he hasn't lost his power with the loss of his weight. The power's still there. The bat speed's still there. And you're seeing it. The home runs are still there. He's going to have a 30 home run season at least at this rate.
Yeah, and I think those are the numbers that we kind of expect from him on a daily basis. We're finally getting it, which is why I don't understand all the vitriol towards Stanton.
I don't think there's any vitriol. I mean, there's vitriol last year. No vitriol.
Yeah, no, I'm saying
it was flying under the radar. That's all.
Yeah, no, this is the Stanton that we've all been waiting for. That's why I'm saying, just shut up and enjoy it. Because like you said, the slumps for him, his streaks come in and out. So when he's on the hot streak, just ride the wave with him. When he cools off, that gives Boone an opportunity to give Judge or even Verdugo a half day, and put them at DH. So it's really made. I mean, this offense has made Boone's job. The whole team has made Boone's job so much easier this year.
Ironically, he's not actually on a hot streak right now, which is a great sign that he's still hitting home runs and stuff like that. He isn't as red hot in the last 7 to 15 games as he was prior. He's actually batting in the 180s over his last 7 games. So he's actually not on a hot streak, but he's still delivering when we need him to. He actually came through with some big hits in California, especially San Francisco, and now yesterday as well. And that's not him even firing on all cylinders. And that's another improvement from Stanton this year as opposed to previous years. In previous years, if he's in a slump, write it off completely. Nothing. He can't give you anything. Now he's still kind of there. He'll still give you extra base hits. He'll still give you some home runs. And he's going to get hot again, just like he did all through May.
Yeah, and the whole thing with the garbage time home run, I think, and I didn't mean to talk over Rob when he was talking about it. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. When do you ever have enough runs? Sorry, the other team. Well, you guys already scored 10, so we're not going to try. I mean, come on, it's so stupid. You keep scoring until the game is over. because you never know. We've seen collapses in games. We've seen comebacks in games. Now you play. I don't care if we're up by 20. If you have a pitch that you can hit over the wall, hit it over the wall.
Amen to that.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. We could have used the late Stanton home run when we were up in the first game against the Angels.
Yep.
We could have used one against the Padres, the game that we lost against them. They could have used it against the Mariners in that first game that they blew. I mean, would we be complaining if we were up? Let's just say we were up 4-1. Stanton hits a home run, makes it 6-1, and the Mariners scored 4 runs in the ninth. It's like, well, you still won the game thanks to that Stanton home run in the 8th inning or whatever. So it's just, you never give away at bats, but people want to, like Ken said, the team can go 162-0, go win the World Series. But if Stanton made game 4 of the World Series 10-0 and hit it late when the game was already out of reach, they'd be like, well, it's a garbage time home run. Who cares? They would find something to complain about. That's just how fans are. It's not just Yankee fans, but it is fans in general. That's how fans are. They're very reactive, and they will find something to complain about even when things are going well. And that's what we're seeing now, is that people are trying to, the negative ones at least, they're trying to grab onto something because they can't help but be negative. This is the best team that we've had in a very long time, and they're still be like, well, they could replace Rizzo. There's no need to right now. No, they got to replace Torres. There's no need to right now. Get rid of Ferguson. Well, maybe. Get rid of Santana. Maybe. But there's no reason to break up this team right now because they're kicking ass. Like every single night, they're making it an enjoyable game. And they're making it a fun game to watch. Why try to break things up? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's always been the saying in sports forever, for everything in life. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, the Yankees right now, they ain't broke. So there's no need to go fixing things that ain't broke.
Facts. I mean, as I say, watching Soto and Judge's box office, every at bat is can't miss. It's can't miss stuff. What Anthony Volpe's doing is freaking unreal. The guy is a 2nd-year player, and he's playing like he's like in his prime. Yeah. He's playing outrageously good stuff. He's playing great on the field. Phenomenal shortstop. He makes every play short. And offensively, he's on a crazy on base streak. He was on a crazy hitting streak as well for a while. So, like, you're getting that as well, and you get Stanton, who's just in the number 5 in the order, just giving you 15 plus home runs. We're only 60 games in the year. It's great. This team is so strong that you got DJ LeMahieu batting 9th. DJ LeMahieu, multiple batting champion and multiple MVP candidate for the Yankees, and the guy's batting 9th. That's how strong this team is, man. And by the way, you got a guy like Jason Dominguez, who's waiting in the wings in AAA, and he's absolutely mashing. And you got Ozzy Cabrera, who could step in and do a very solid job at third base whenever called upon. This is a very strong team. It's very deep, and it's special. This team's going to win well over 100 games. And it's the best team that I've seen since 2009. And it's just locked and loaded. And that's what's fun. Like, you trust most starters, and our offense is insane. So it's great.
Yep. And before we get to the next point, looking at the view, we have 19 people watching us on X. We appreciate you checking us out. To everybody on the YouTube, thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for all the comments. But you're talking about people that are on their way back. You brought up Jason Dominguez. We have another very important piece to this team on their way back who had a rehab start yesterday with Garrett Cole, who had a very, very strong rehab start. 3 1/3, 5 strikeouts. He hit 97 on the gun. The best part about it is he's anxious to get back, but he's not rushing himself. Like, he knows that he knew he was at a 45 pitch limit, and that's exactly what he threw. Thank God he's on his way back, because it's going to be. I'm really curious, because there's nobody to where you're like, all right, we got to get this guy out of here. This pitch is, when's Cole coming back? We got to make a move. We're not at that situation this time around. Oh, you talking about a 1-2 punch in the postseason, Will? Holy shit.
Cole, regular season. Forget postseason. Regular Cole and Hill, my God, is absolutely. I couldn't have put it perfect, man. Couldn't have put it better.
I just think it's important that he comes out of it feeling good. Because I have no doubt that he would come out there and throw well because it's Garrett Cole. But as long as his arm feels okay post start, because that's what he was dealing with in the spring. He's like, he didn't feel right. It felt like he had thrown 100 pitches after throwing 40. He doesn't feel that way right now. That means he's definitely healing up. So give it another 2, maybe 3 more starts, and he should be back by the end of this month. And that's huge because, like Mark brings up, Cole, Heel, Rodon, and Stroman, that's a pretty filthy 4-man rotation. And let's not forget, Nestor Cortez has been just fine as a number 5, and we've got plenty of arms in the system, or we've already seen prove to us that he can handle the major league spot starts here and there. We're going to get Brubaker back in the summer. In a couple of months, Schmidt will be healthy. Hopefully he's good to go when his time is ready in August, most likely, maybe late July, earliest. That's a good sign. They don't need to add much because previous years were like, you got to add starting pitch and got to add a starting pitcher. Now you probably don't need to if this rotation just stays intact, stays healthy, and stays pitching the way they are. I saw something earlier that because of how good this defensive outfield is and because of how good the framing's been, it's making these pitchers look better than the peripherals are because everyone's clicking right now. And a lot of it has to do with defense behind him. That defense in the outfield is elite. We saw it be terrible last year and it hurt the pitchers. The framing has been fantastic. One thing Wells has been so good at, despite his bat struggling, his framing has been elite. Same thing with Trevino. So you got 2 outstanding defensive catchers back there. It helps the pitchers. And now you're going to get the Cy Young back in a couple of weeks. The rotation's already good, and now it's going to be elite. It's already elite. So what's better than elite? I don't know. But you're getting Garrett Cole back. I think that needs to be talked about a little bit more, who we're about to add in a couple of weeks here. Garrett freaking Cole, the best pitcher in baseball, is coming back to a rotation that's already got the best ERA in the sport. That's overkill, and I'm here for it.
I'm here for it too. Yeah, he had a great outing, 3 2/3 innings, 5 strikeouts, and 45 pitches, just 2 hits, 0 runs. You can't ask better than that. How cool must it have been for the guys in Somerset to have Garrett Cole sitting beside you in the locker room? That must be pretty damn cool. That must be pretty damn cool playing behind Garrett Cole on the field. The Garrett Cole, one of the greatest pitchers of all time. That must be really, really cool for the young guys. But what about the opposition? I have massive sympathy for them, right? So you got guys, you got guys who are like, damn, I really need to get my batting average right. Okay, who am I facing tomorrow? Oh, Garrett Cole. Oh, fuck. God damn. What are you doing to me, God? But it's just awesome, man. Garrett Cole's going to be back. He's going to be back in a couple of weeks, and he's going to make this rotation even better. If it even needs to be improved, it will get better, and it's going to be historic. So I'm here for it.
Yeah, and Ken's commenting that Cole's next AA start should be another 50-pitch game. I think they'll give him, if he had 45 this time around, I'm expecting maybe 55 to 60 for his next outing. They'll start trying to ramp him up, 10, 15 pitches an outing. That seems to be the norm. But it's also Garrett Cole. If he's around 50 and he's feeling good, then he's gonna, he'll let them know. If he's put his work in, he knows how important it is to get back to the team. He's not going to push himself. No, it's and there was another comment.
I don't know what you're talking about, Ken. I don't know if you have anything against Austin Wells, but if you do, I haven't seen it before. So trust me, it wasn't a jab at you. I know that Wells is really bad offensively. He's been unlucky in some categories, but overall his numbers don't look very good at all. And yet we're not talking about it because his play behind the plate has been so good that we can survive it. We talked about this 2 years ago. If the Yankees wanted to go defensive minded at any position, it's catcher. Because 2 years ago we had that with Trevino and Higgy. And the offense was really good for the first few months of the season, and then it hit that wall. But I would love to see Austin Wells start hitting better, but as long as his defense behind the plate is as good as it's been, I can live with two catchers that don't really hit very well. But Trevino has carried the slack.
Damn, Kendall like Wells.
Okay.
I mean, the funny thing about Wells is we actually thought that he's more of an offensive guy, but to be honest, his defense has been better than his offense. His at-bats haven't been particularly good, although he has absolutely lined some pitches and got some bad luck, but his rapport with the pitchers has been excellent. So again, it's not an issue. As Rob says, it doesn't matter. If you've got Trevino who's doing a better job than Wells, but they're both doing a good job with the pitchers, that's all you can really ask for when you got this kind of offense, and it's historically good offense. So it's so deep that you've got DJ LeMahieu batting ninth, you got Volpe leading off, and you got Stanton, and then you got the two best hitters in baseball, Judge and Soto. Holy crap. It's just so freaking good, it doesn't matter. So there's no reason to mess with it. But yeah, you could critique Wells' offense. Like, his offense hasn't been great, but again, it doesn't really matter. And I'm sure it'll eventually come around. But the good news is Trevino's been good. So I want to pick up on Will Starr here. Sucks that we got Poteet starting Friday. Really want to sweep the Dodgers badly. Well, let's not jump ahead. We don't know what's going to happen the first two games against the Dodgers. But second of all, Poteet's pitched very, very well for the Yankees. I mean, what's the problem? I mean, his first start for the Yankees was excellent. His second start wasn't amazing, but he got the job done. Yeah, it was solid. So I don't really know what the complaint is with Cody Poteet. I trust Poteet. I trust most starters that come out for the Yankees right now. They've done such a good job with them. And again, credit to Matt Blake for that.
But that will be a real test for him, though, because that Dodger lineup is freaking disgusting. Like, it's right there. Like, when you look at the way the Yankees and Dodgers match up offensively, we're number 1 and 2 in a lot of categories, and they're number 1 and 2 and 3 in a lot of categories. So that's going to be a box office series, and that's why I think it's on primetime television the entire way through. It's Yamamoto Friday night, so you know that's going to have eyes on it. I think they got a Fox game Saturday, and then Sunday Night Baseball, I think, is the last game. I would assume it is. So, yeah, that's going to be a series to watch. It's a potential World Series. When the schedule came out, and the Yankees got Soto, it's all people were talking about. So Ohtani and Soto, it's Yankees, Dodgers. Circle your calendars for June. It's going to be crazy, but we still got to get through this Twins series first. Let's not overlook them because they still are a good team. I know we've handled them this season so far, but the Twins are still a pretty solid team out there. We just have made them look a lot than they are because they are better than that. But we've been playing so well that we're kind of sunning them a little bit out there. And it wasn't until John Flaherty jinxed them that we had a shutout going for the entire time we played them.
Don't get me started on John Flaherty.
Right on cue. I'm glad that Kay called him out the second that ball went over the wall. Michael Kay called him out on it. Because the second he said, oh, they got a shutout going, the ball goes over the wall. And what did Kay say? Oh, there's the announcer's jinx. He didn't even call a home run. He said, there you go. There's a jinx for you. Jinx
John Flaherty, man. Honestly.
It's brutal.
We have to put up with him for this whole series. Oh, please stop.
And he's such a likable guy. You know, it's just need a little more energy in the booth.
Yeah, he's so boring. He's also kind of negative. What did he say at the start of the game yesterday? I hate to say it, but the Yankees look unbeatable. Why would you hate to say it? You're announcing Yankee games.
Yeah. Just want to point out this comment from John. Thanks for the comment. Thanks for hanging out with us. As a rookie, he's only getting a handful of starts a week. Lack of regular opportunities is is probably why Wells has not performed to expectations yet. I've agreed with that in the past, and I pointed that out. I want to see him get more at bats against lefties, just to see where he's at. You know, if you're going to, and now is the time to give him a start towards a lefty when you 20 plus games above 500. Now's the time where you can actually say, all right, let's see where this goes. Flash has the energy. Poor Flash. Really. Like I said, he's such a nice guy. He's just,
Terrible announcer.
He's a little more
Great guy,
fire.
Terrible announcer.
So
Did
bad.
anybody else in the booth with K? I mean, at this rate, put Nelson back with them. Put Todd Frazier back with them. Frazier was actually
Frazier was
pretty
good.
good. Frazier was fine. So I'm so sick of Flaherty for analysis on the Yes booth. That's fine. Like when they're doing the pregame and postgame, him and Curry, they're a good team out there. But when he's doing play-by-play or color commentary, whatever, it's not enjoyable. Just feel like he
Yeah.
brings down. They don't have the conversations. Like as much as I couldn't stand hearing about Michael K's wardrobe throughout the entire West Coast trip, I would rather hear Paul O'Neill or David Cohn give some insight than Flaherty. Where has
I
Cohn
like
been, by the way?
Meredith Morokovich more. I think she's really good. It was, Girardi was good, John. It's good to see you in the chat too. Welcome to the family. Coney, obviously, Paulie, anybody but John Flaherty. Whatever Flaherty was also, he was looking at Soto's at bat, and he's like, I keep trying to find flaws in where you could pitch around him, and I'm thinking, why are you looking for that? You're calling Yankee games. Don't look for the flaws. Look for the positives. This team is so full of positives. It's one of the best teams ever. Jesus, he's just so negative and boring. Fuck. Damn.
To close out the show, I want to bring this comment up and get a take on it. The Yamamoto game is on Apple TV Plus. I doubt they'll get the surplus viewership they could otherwise have had. Now, when you have the series like this, it's Yankees Dodgers, everybody's paying premium price to have it on their network or their app. But being that they're not going to have it on a TV network, a traditional TV network, is that going to hurt some of the viewership? What do you guys think?
No, because we're going to call the game on Friday, so it'll be fine. You guys just watch. You guys just hop on our channel, and we got you covered.
Also, you can just find a way to watch it illegally because that's what most people do nowadays anyway. Because who's paying all this money for these different streaming services? I'm not going to say a website name because then I'm going to get a knock at my own door from Rob Manfred. But just do whatever. There's no need to pay. Then they might give out a free trial too. Every time there's a big game on Apple TV, there's conveniently a free trial. So I think they want people to watch that game, but they also want people to see what Apple TV is about. It's not very good. The broadcast looks okay because the quality's fine, but the announcing stinks on Apple TV. You think the Yes Network is bad sometimes. Listen to a game on Apple TV and you might put your head through a wall. It's brutal.
Yeah, that's why mute the broadcast and just listen to us, and we'll get you covered on Friday. You guys would probably not agree, but from a baseball standpoint, Singleton was one of the best. How could you not agree? Singleton was fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. We miss his voice. He knew his stuff.
It hasn't been the same since he left.
Yeah. Really good rapport with K too. K loved him.
Yep. All right, that is going to wrap things up for today's show. Hope everybody did enjoy.
Can we say also a big thank you to everyone who watched? Big viewership today, and we love to see that on Wednesday. Join us on Friday, and we'll get you covered. But really, really means a lot to have everybody and new people as well. Love to see new people in the chat.
Yep. Just remember, if you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that sub button. If you're watching us over on X, just make sure you follow us. You could also jump over to YouTube, hit that sub button, so you would have a chance to join the chat in the future. And make sure you also share this out with your friends, your family, hell, the stranger on the corner. And as I always like to say, with those pinstripes of pride and play hard.
Thanks, guys.